Hi, I'm Shubham. And I'm Prashanto. And together we are the founders of Kappa X.
That you have to get your hands dirty. You can't do a startup with a corporate mindset.
When people tell me that I can't do something, I will do whatever it takes to prove them wrong.
लाइफ में ना दो तरह से कॉम्पनसेट होते हो आप. वन इज योर अर्निंग एंड वन इज योर लर्निंग.
Fundamental each has always been खुद करो.
I'm your host, Akshay Dutt, and you're listening to Spotlight, a podcast in which I speak to disruptive startup founders.
Interaction is the holy grail of digital engagement. That's the reason why you see so many websites opting to use chatbots instead of boring forms to get customers to leave their information. Chatbots typically follow a journey. The customer is required to give some inputs based on which the chatbot prints the next set of sentences. Now imagine if you could create the same journey for a customer using video instead of a chatbot. Imagine going to the ICICI Bank's website and interacting with a video avatar of Amitabh Bachchan. This is not science fiction, but already a reality thanks to an innovative product called Kappa by Hyperstate. In this episode of the Founder Thesis podcast, Akshay Dutt talks to the founders of Hyperstate, Prashanto and Shubham Chauhan, about how they are disrupting the traditional passive digital advertising market.
It's a treadmill. The day you stop running, the money starts drying up.
Yeah. So I started asking the question, so what if I make 10,000 videos? Okay. So what if five more home chefs become famous? Or five more, so what if I get 100,000 more creators around the world? And I'm talking about mind-boggling numbers. I had built a network that was doing 3.1 billion hours a month. That is 1/5 of Star Plus in India at that point of time, when you talk about the scale and depth of it, right? But so what? Then you realize that none of this, the platform is not owned by me. The content, the creativity and the challenge, and I'm only a facilitator and I'm only a facilitator in the middle, and I will have a shelf life. So how do you build life beyond that? So, and I walked out, and that was about the time that Shubham and I met at a hackathon.
So Shubham, over to you. Like, tell me about your journey till you met Prashanto.
Had just started a course called Entrepreneurship 101 or 201 or something. That's like they will train you to be an entrepreneur. It was so extensive that they will ask you to literally create a startup in the class.
Present your business plan.
Present your business. And it was designed by Raj Jaswa initially. He was serial entrepreneur and did couple of companies, IPOs in US and all. So he came and he used to give lots of fundas and all. And that's when everyone is like convinced, yaar, ab to startup hi karne ka hai, aur kuch to karna hi nahi hai. And usi year mein, we happened to enroll into this Eureka, which PD was talking about in 2015. PD went in 2012, I think. We also enrolled there. I think we had finished, we were the finalist in Eureka. Second runner-up over there. That's when we met a lot of VCs. They're like floating around, giving us cards and saying, why don't you come talk to us and all. And till then, we only had presentation. It was nothing. The product was not there. The company was not there. We were just like a couple of college kids, had something in mind, and we just presented. And we went to present, and one of the guy gave us grants. He's like, PPT acha bana lete ho. Why don't you go and try it out? We actually did that, built product for 1 year. It was a sentiment analysis system in 2015.
Using like say Facebook text, like parsing text on Facebook.
Parsing text. It was completely text-based. And the idea was to augment it with your second screen. What is second screen? When you watch any kind of sport, so you have these reactions about the events that happen inside it, right? And while you're watching the stuff, for those events and emotions, you will go to the social media. That's your second screen experience. We said this behavior is permanent and it is always happening. In 2015, 2016, people are accustomed to this behavior. How about we start to surface this information inside the video itself when the broadcast is happening? And we said, okay, what do we surface? Like, it can be any information, right? I can check players' information, stats and everything. We said, we'll start with the public emotions. We'll start with how people feel about this particular event. So the technology that we had built in the backend is you give it any sort of event that has happened in last 30 days. And around those events, it will give you the emotional breakup, entity analysis, all those things. And by the time fourth year, it was the placement year. And if you are someone who has done some startups and you've got some tech knowledge, you could develop, placements are a piece of cake for you. And that's when we had another twist. All of us are like, no, we are not going to do placement. We'll just do startup. And we were the only 3 to 4 people who never had any kind of placement registrations in IIT Bombay. Imagine a class of, talk about being a outlier there. Out of 1,000 people, only 4 people are like, no, we are confident now, hum kar lenge.
Yes. Thanks, but no thanks.
And right after, when you rejected placements, after 1.5 months, we're like, we're not working on the startup anymore. Now we have to figure out what to do with the life. So me and my friend, we were building a couple of products. We had sold a lot of products as well in the middle. Because with all that experience, at least one thing came out is that all of us understood how to build digital products. And that's when I think 1.5 months later only, I met PD. And it was like, okay, karna hai, to koi achhi team bana ke, and let's start something big this time.
And like, what was, I mean, so when you guys met, what was like the idea that bubbled up and made you both feel ke हाँ ये करते हैं?
Oh, I mean, there was no idea actually.
So मतलब both of you were like यार कुछ करना है.
हाँ.
And you met.
Actually, let me add to that. So there was also a meeting of the minds, and you know that where अपनी entrepreneurship school से निकल रहा था, where you had created an exit and I'd got an exit out, and I'd also
Did you sell your stake to the other co-founders?
Yeah, of course. To the investors and the co-founders. So I sold it, and I think they got in a new investor. So I'd passed. So I got an exit.
Was it significant?
Oh yeah. So I was coming from this NLP and AI background, saying I'm going to do some sort of AI kind of a thing in the future. And that's when we had also built some good sort of IP and everything. We were confident that we can build some good kind of products out of it. We had, by the college startup IP, we had sold it to one of the early backer. They have one of the MNC in Mumbai, and now they are using that IP for their internal and external analysis of the data. It's a healthcare startup, healthcare company. So I was pretty confident that there's a value to be made in this particular thing. It's just that it has to be packaged better, and there has to be some better mind other than me who can monetize it better. And that's when one of our co-founder Harsha was also there. We said there's another thing that is coming along, that is vernacular languages. I mean, you've got this geo effect. Everyone is on the internet. You've got the people on the internet who are using smartphone for the first time. They've skipped the whole email era before this. They've skipped everything. And when they come onto the internet for the first time, they are showing very different kind of behavior. At the same time, you had this share chat coming in from IIT Kanpur, right? Just catering to that segment. We also realized we have made good enough models where the computer can understand the sentences that you write. Can we not do it via speech? And can we not do it in different languages, like detecting Hindi, detecting your accents? And can we not convert almost all of your websites into, or can we not create an Alexa for website and put it on different web pages, sell it as a SaaS model? That was the initial idea. And we were pretty good at it. As I said, when we had developed almost all the things in place, and we had deployed a couple of first early demos to a couple of brands, and then came in the early numbers. Early numbers were like, it's not at all about the technology or the voice thing that we are building. The other guy, the guy in front of you, doesn't even want to interact with the bot. And it has nothing to do with us. It's just that the bots have been bastardized by the whole industry so far. And that's when we're like, okay, so we are focusing on the wrong thing. We have not been focusing on the end user experience. We are just focusing on the backend efficiency and the creation efficiency and all these things. We shifted that focus. We said, if we were to make this interesting and interesting for masses, I'm not talking about you as a knowledge worker who can just go and read about, let's say, 1,500 words instantly. No, we're talking about masses. How do we keep them engaged onto some information and how they make it relevant to them? That's when we turned towards video. We said video itself is a medium, has everything inside it. And if we look around, almost everyone spends 90% of their time on videos today. That's when also you had the same pattern. Even we were hooked onto the video. We had Netflix, we had Prime, we've got YouTube where we were just doing bite-sized content and all. So let's take it and try to turn it into a format where I can engage with it. Like I can ask for information from this guy. Instead of me going to a website and try to figure out what happens inside it, how about just I ask the video? That's when we started using it.
Which is what IBM created. Like IBM also had something like this, no? Where you could talk to a video avatar.
Oh, so IBM has something called Watson. Watson is your NLP engine. IBM, or I think lots of other big tech companies, have tried to do this avatar generation. At the backend, you still have the same NLP technology, but in the front, the thing that you're seeing is a human kind of an interface. So, but the thing is, you cannot render that human in real time on your devices. Like, this is my phone. If I were to do this phone will spend at least 5 to 10 hours to render 2-3 seconds of that real time of interaction. So anyway, you're going to pre-render these videos on some server behind, and then eventually you will put this video in front of the user. Instead, how about we just start to use our recorded videos? Those are better quality. You see human, and it literally feels like you're talking to a user. It's like the way I'm talking to you right now. on a selfie video kind of a thing. You get a panel at the bottom which says ask a question. You click on it. It gives you the pre-recorded questions that I can answer you. Click on one of them. I start instantly answer those answers. And then we started building these multiple streams, like saying, what if you want to talk to multiple avatars? What not just one video? And that's when you can select, let's say, if I'm talking to a bank customer service guy, I can switch the avatar instantly to the CEO of the bank, or I can switch it to the fellow customer. And I ask them the more relevant and contextual question where they can answer me better. It's more empathetic in nature. See, I, as a user who doesn't care about your technology, who just wants to get information and want to do it in a way where I myself can get myself engaged, which doesn't happen anymore with the short attention span, with the TikToks of the world. It's very hard to keep your user engaged on the website with just text content.
So this is like a video version of a chatbot.
Yes, that's how it started.
I have a question here. Like in chatbot, you can generate any kind of text because there is no computation needed to generate text. So, but in video, do you need to, have you built that technology which can generate any answer, or are these scripted answers and the program will figure out what is the scripted answer I play to answer this question?
There are two ways to it. I mean, see that we already have the tech where I can literally generate answer for you and give it to you, but the brands do not prefer it. The fact that we still have those coded bots where they can just give you 5 answers, because brands don't want to get in that uncertain area where the bot is just saying something which no one can control. So the auto-generated answer is a no-go for the brands, any kind of brand solution.
But you have that technology to have a video speak, like you could have a video of Amitabh Bachchan speaking any answer which is generated on the fly, and it's not a scripted recorded.
Not in that way.
That's a synthetic video.
Yeah, it's more like you have a pre-recorded video. All the things that are there inside the video, they are shown to you. And then if you query something extra, it will not masquerade itself that it is coming out of the video. It will just tell you that, okay, this is an extra information, and then we are throwing it out as a text or a voice to you. It will not try to manipulate the avatar inside the video for you, because it simply takes the quality away out of it.
That would need massive computational resources also, no, to do that kind of.
Absolutely. And even the companies that are doing it right now, they're also like pre-rendering these videos and then sending it out as in an MP4 format to everyone. No one is trying to do real-time generation, but it evolved.
I must give an anecdote out here. रईस का डायलॉग है, बनिएगा दिमाग, मियाँ भाई की डेयरी और IIT बॉम्बे की बैगी. So if you have all three combinations, you will have a good tech product coming out, right? You know, it was very funny because when we had this was December 2019 is when we took a call saying, yeah, this is not going to work. The audio thing, there's no failure on our part, like Shubham was saying. And we got an opportunity to present an idea at NASCOM Product Conclave in December 2019. Now, we had built the first prototype, and I remember we went there at the first outside prototype of this video, this first very early scratch thing saying, and the problem it would solve is saying that it would make your video more engaging. See, again, understand, I come from a video background, so I understood the video problems and all of that. And we could, Shubham was coming from the technology and all of that. And we were grappling onto something. And he said, wait, 2 hours before, and this was at 9:30, we were at the stalls about to open and all. 9 baje tak, Shubham, Harsha and team are still coding. मेरे 20 साल का नाम on the line है, Shubham, ये चलेगा क्या? पता नहीं. That is what we call the best products are made at the last minute panic. So this was last minute panic just because we had an audience and we wanted to show. We had an idea. We wanted to put it out. But the good part was that we put it out. We realized that there is a value for what we are saying. And then we also realized that people already are sitting on tons of videos. No, video is that cockroach that has not died. Like it was a film, then it became TV, then it became digital video, then it became DVD at somewhere, and it will always exist, right? So that is a medium that people are already invested in. Like tons of money has been poured into that. If you can use that as a challenge now and move, then you can really solve brand problems. And that's when we started realizing that engagement is the smallest problem that you could solve. There are far larger, bigger business problems that we could solve. And that is that's when we built Kappa. And Kappa, what you see, kappax.io is the website. If you go to the website kappax.io, what we built, it's complex tech made very simple. Complex, and I'm extremely proud of what we've done. And we are extremely proud of what we built. It's extremely complex tech, which is it manipulates videos, existing videos. In minutes, you're building experiences that audiences love. And what is the value of that experience? because the value of that experience is whatever the digital marketing parameters delivered today, whatever. And Akshay, we delivered 10 to 25 times to 100 times over. That's the value that we bring. And that's only the value of the output. The value, you're building this all in minutes. So there's one, somebody came to us and said, how much? And like you said, no, you could build bots and all. Similarly, if you build an interactive video, we realized it would take some team 98 days and 78 people would have to interact with it before a product goes on. Why? Because it's a process. You'll give an idea, then I'll write it down, then I'll do it, then I'll do it, and I'll do it. Even with existing stuff and all, it's not possible. We realized that the same thing could be executed with our product Kappa in less than 48 hours and with 3 people.
But before we come to like a commercialization, I want to understand what exactly you built further, like before we talk about how you commercialized it.
So I'll give you the simple answer and Shubham will give you a technology-led answer. The simple answer is we have unlocked the video metaverse. Why do we call it the video metaverse? See, what is the metaverse for us is a world that exists. We all have our own personal metaverses the day we were born. And when you look at the video is a great storytelling tool. Now, if you put your audience at the center of it, the customer at the center of it, all answers become clear. People already knew how to build videos. How do you build over it? How do you add a layer over it is what we wanted. Everybody in the world has to become a 3D guy and he has to start building 3D things, right? But we see challenges in terms of hardware. And that is still some time off.
So, PD, I explained the what part of it. I think let me explain the how part of it. And this is again from connecting with the bot wala thing that we were building. We said, okay, let's talk about the creation experience again. And who can create these experiences? We are talking about some great interactive experiences. We are talking about you will be immersed into it and then eventually you will be able to enjoy it. There's going to be delight out of it. But who will create it? Like, how is it going to made? Today, all the creators are putting infinite, like some good amount of effort in producing just one 30-second video or 60-second video. I'm sure you know about this, everything, right? But now I'm talking about adding extra, doing some sort of coding on top of that content and then putting it out in front of the user. That's like something that no one is going to do. So we have to figure out something that eases out that process. It makes it so easy that anyone can do it. That's the initial stage. That's the first constraint that we put on ourselves. Saying it has to be so easy that anyone can do it. And the second thing is we have to equip the user of our product to create delight. If they cannot create delight, then they better not use Kappa. They should just go and use some other product or just stay with the video medium. It's not so bad actually. Okay. That's when we created this no-code platform where now our users can write English statements, English imperative statements to tell the system what they want it to do. You can say, when time equal to 5 seconds, show the Wikipedia profile of this user. Now, who is this user? This is the guy who is talking right now at 5 seconds. Or you can say, when this video is paused, always show an overlay on the right side, which will talk about the sponsor product. English statements. You can write, when someone writes a valid email, save this email and show it to me on my dashboard. The way I'm saying it, that's the way you would write it. It's the language of your thought. It's not some new syntax. It's not some coding that you're going to. And the power is when you start to combine these actions, when you chain them together, you end up with something that is completely interactive in nature, and you are suddenly taking the end viewer. They're calling them viewer because earlier they were just watching the video. You've converted them into a player. They're now going through a journey with you. And now they're engaging and moving forward and choosing and discovering their own journey. It can very well be a film. It can be a commercial. It can be a podcast as well. There's no denying in that. And suddenly you have unlocked a machine to generate new kind of formats. Like, why is it that we only have feed as a format for content, or let's say TikTok as a format, or stories as a format? Can I not create my own format which is in context with the content that I'm producing? Like if today, if I'm going to talk about, let's say, wildlife, then my whole interface should be about wildlife. It should have features about wildlife. And all those features should also be equipped with information about wildlife. And they should take me through a journey about wildlife. Not just about a like button at the bottom of it. That's the whole idea behind it.
So the traditional way of video is linear and you record something that we discussed. And then we discussed about chatbots and how they can understand and answer questions and respond accordingly. And then what you made at the core was like a video chatbot kind of a product where different scripted re-recorded videos could be played based on user inputs.
That's where we started. That's a start.
Right. Now, and then this is something which normally might have needed someone technically savvy. So then you made it no code so that anybody can create this user experience without needing to know how to code. so that they can create options for users to select, or they can ask users questions and then record the answer, and so on and so forth. And so they can do their storyboarding and execute it without needing technical knowledge, like a no code kind of a platform.
Absolutely.
Am I right so far?
Yeah, you're perfectly right. And we literally call it a no-code platform. Kappa is a tool set that enables you with all these kind of new kind of creation that are non-traditional in nature, that are not your upload and forget kind of a platform where you go and you customize it. It's like you used to customize this MySpace profile in the past, right? Same way you customize your now videos and experiences inside those videos. But the story doesn't stop there. I mean, when we talk about Kappa, especially when we not show it to anyone, they're like, okay, Canva for videos or Figma for videos or Webflow for videos. Well, you've got different analogies out there. But what people fail to understand, especially the first time ones, is the kind of thought process you are putting in these kind of experiences completely different than the other rasterized formats that you're making, like videos and images or even the audio files. Why? Because now you're imagining end user journey. Every time you put a button, there's an uncertainty that someone is going to click on it. And you have to write what will happen when someone clicks on this, right? And since you are responsible for this, and since there's an interactivity, there's going to be different amount of data that will be generated out of it. Like earlier, when I was watching your podcast, the insight that you would get out of it is what is the average time spent and how many people have watched it. And if you can track my basic IP and all, you can see location and everything else, the basic analytics, right? But now, since you have converted the same content into an engaging format, you have put in, let's say, 5 to 10 different engaging hotspots or buttons that take you in and out of the journey. Now you have different insights. Now you know more about the end user. You probably know, even without knowing me, all of my preferences about your stories or my favorite color, everything else, or my car preferences, model preferences. Now, this data is something that we collect and we aggregate, anonymize, put it into this is a very insightful dashboard. So you take these insights and put it in front of the end consumer, customer, brand, whoever is using Kappa. And that's when the actual wow comes in. The wow is not in creation, the wow is in the insight. What you learn about the audience. What is the behavior that they are telling you? And the best part is, once you understand this behavior, again, making changes or evolving this behavior that they are seeing is not again a high stake action. It's a low stake action. Go back again, do some iteration and flip the publish button. You are back online with a new thing. That is Kappa in a nutshell.
Got it. Okay. So this is obviously not a YouTube video because YouTube does not support interactivity. So there's something which you embed in your own website, like a brand would embed on its website for the people who land up on the brand. Like you could have some sort of a link on, let's say, a Facebook ad, like say interested in a test drive, kind of a link, and someone clicks that and he reaches a brand page where there is a video which is saying, hey, you want to check out one of our latest models, which car are you interested in? And then based on what you respond, it straight away then next plays a video of that car and says, which color are you interested in? And like that. And therefore, for a customer, it is better than a form. Like if you land on a page where there is a form where you have to select car model, car color, and so on and so on. Instead of that, there's a video which is getting this information. And then this information is presented to the brand so that the brand knows, okay, this is the most popular model for this ad. Like I ran a campaign on Facebook, and in that campaign, most people preferred this model, this color, and most people actually ended up booking a test drive, or very few people actually booked a test drive, whatever insights. So all of that becomes available to a brand, which is something for which a brand doesn't necessarily need to get a coder to build this for them, but it's as easy as building a Google form for them.
So let me take the first part. So yeah, Akshay, yes and no. Some of the methods that you've said is what you're doing. And also to that, one more mix that I would add is that you can also disseminate it as via Google ad engines as a programmatic ad. Programmatic interactive ad. This is also dissemination. But the first part is absolutely right. Where brands have their own, they're already so heavily invested into their own channels. They have built their own audiences, their things. What happens when they come to a website? The information is so spread across their own website channels and things and all. How do you when you talk customer, when you think about your customer, what do you want him to do here? You want to make sure that everything that you want him to have to make a decision, no? Fatafat karo. So changing websites is a mother of a job. It's not possible to change websites overnight, but inserting a kappa like of an experience, building it in one day, like Shubham said, making it a low stake action and putting it on your own channels and using it via social channels and all to promote is a very low stake going for anybody. Because now all the traffic that's coming to your site or it's coming to your experiences, what is the value that you want out of?
The understanding is right, like that the journey is somewhere you will discover the link somewhere, and it can be social, it can be your personal DM, anything. Once you tap on that, you land that destination, and that's where all the engagement happens. That's one of the way, and that's the primary way. And other things that we have figured, which are like large enterprises are doing, like taking them as an interactive ad, putting out to different publishers and OTTs, and that's where the consumption is happening.
Like what? Give me an example. What kind of publisher?
Imagine you are watching a video and a pre-roll ad comes in, shows you the video, and asks you to interact with it.
On what publisher? Like which publisher is currently allowing this?
We're talking about almost all the major publishing sites in India, like TAI to The Hindu and all. Everyone where there's a video inventory, you would find these Kappa ads running.
And then you have OTTs also, right?
Yeah, you've got OTTs. I mean, all the OTTs that support ads also are running Kappa formats on top of these.
Like Hotstar.
We have not checked Hotstar in terms of
But Z5 for sure. Z5,
Google Ad Engine. Yeah, Google Ad Engine works in its own manner. So if you target your users that are on Hotstar, I'm sure it should be able to see. Other thing that we have seen is like Food, Z5, MX Player. These things we have seen.
If you like to hear stories of founders, then we have tons of great stories from entrepreneurs who have built billion-dollar businesses. Just search for the Founder Thesis podcast on any audio streaming app like Spotify, Gaana, Apple Podcasts, and subscribe to the show.
But I have a question here. All these platforms which have a video ad inventory, they would require that ad to come through Google. Like Google would be the intermediary, like a brand, like say if I'm let's say Cadbury or Maruti or whatever, I would go to Google and run a campaign, and then Google would then feed it to all of these, like Times of India, Hindu or Hotstar or Z5 with all of these. Like, is that how it happens?
Yes. Let me just put it in a framework terms. You've got Kappa. That's where you are building your experience. Now you need some sort of distribution engine that will take it everywhere, right? Kappa doesn't do that. We are not in that business. You've got, it's a red ocean out there. You've got infinite players. Google is one of them. You use their Google DB360 and say, these are the people, this is my inventory, target them and run that. Same way you can go to, let's say, MediaMath, or you can go to InMovie or any other DSP per se and target the same inventory.
DSP stands for?
Demand side platform. That's where advertiser goes and creates their campaigns by putting in.
And so when you go to a DSP and you run a campaign, do you need to upload a video file, or do you need to give some sort of an address that the video file resides on this address and you have to stream it from here? How do you do it when you go to these platforms?
You give that Kappa address. So whenever you publish your project, Kappa will generate certain URLs. If your if your Kappa account supports ad or not, then you can just go and put it over there. It will start picking it up. All the heavy lifting is done at the back end. So no other format or coding that needs to be done in the middle.
Okay. Now, when Google now will go to these platforms, Hindu, Times of India, Z5, and tell them, okay, this meets the campaign criteria, so I'm going to run this ad from Cadbury, which is getting delivered through Kappa, right? Through the Kappa address. Wouldn't there be a constraint that they would probably just be a video player, like their codec would not support interactivity? Like,
that's a valid question. And actually, there's a scenario where no other player in the world has what Kappa can do, right? The code doesn't reside in those players. So what happens is those players call Kappa and tell you, give me all the things that are required to run this thing. And then that's when Kappa says, okay, here's the video file, but here's the extra libraries that you need. Take it and start running that. That's how the whole communication works.
But does that Hindustan Times or TOI or Z5 platforms send you back what was clicked? Because this is an interactive video. So you need the data of what did he choose. There might be which model do you want, and there are 3 names there and he clicked on one name. That data then needs to come back to you, and then you need to send back a different file to stream after that.
No, we do not. So once the session has started, the ad session has started, everything is in Kappa's control. So when you click on something, when you do anything, the analytics part, the serving part, everything is in the realm of Kappa. That's where the TUI or any other, just saying for the namesake, but any publisher does not interfere in that. That's basically the protocol between ad systems.
The way ad systems work is that when an ad is being streamed, then at that time, the publisher is kind of doing a handover to some server which is streaming the ad. And that server is Kappa server. Therefore, you are able to register what was clicked and then play the appropriate video after.
Yeah, absolutely. Publisher's work is, here's the ad slot, fill something inside it. Putting it in lane terms, but this is what the whole system does. I have a slot, someone come and fill it. And Google says, okay, yeah, I have this thing. How about you? Tells Kappa, how about you go and fill it up? Kappa goes in and just starts doing what it does. That's it. There's no, actually, this is how ad system. And I think this is the good part of it, which allows the interoperability between multiple parties that exist in ad tech ecosystem.
But most ads have a button in it, na? Like after 5 seconds, you can skip.
Yeah.
Right. So
here also you have it.
Okay, so here that Kappa ad will also have that button, and after 5 seconds you can skip.
Yeah.
And I'm still wondering whether that is this like a easy thing to do to build interactivity for a person to click stuff on a running video? Because do all browsers support it? Like you can click on top of a video, or do you put some sort of a layer on top of a video where you're clickable? I mean, I kind of want to get into the nuts and bolts of this technology of how you make it interactive while you're serving it, because you're serving it across platforms. And I would have assumed that there's just like a video codec or something like that, which just plays a video. So how does that interactivity become enabled across all platforms?
Okay, so let me talk in terms of mental model again. The way you should imagine Kappa is as a container. That container is going to house your multimedia inside it. It can be videos, images, text. You just dump it inside and you tell the container that this is the relation between them. And this, if you click on this guy, this is how it impacts the other guy. All right. This whole container gets shipped out as an interactive ad. So when you try to click on a video, you're not essentially clicking on the video. You're telling the container that I have clicked here. What do I need to do? And the container says, oh yeah, this is the logic that my creator had written. How about you go and execute this thing? This is how it works. You're not essentially clicking on the, we do not interfere with the codecs or the way you have, what should I say? There's a word to it. The way you package your videos into this bytes, we do not interfere with that. For us also, it's just a media file, like HLS file or a streamable file or something. We take it and then we orchestrate it with different media elements. Button is also an element for us. And that's when you write those English statements saying when some clicks on this, do these 3 things. That's the relationship that you have written in front of them. What goes inside it, what goes inside the video, still the Kappa system is not aware of it. It is just aware of the metadata around it and all the things that you have tagged it with. That's how it works.
Yeah. And Akshay, let me add to this. Having said that, we take the pains of saying that Kappa is not an ad tech platform. Kappa is not a martech platform. So we built a framework for building interactive experiences. Videos is where you're unlocking it. And also you asked that question on the browser thing. But this is again like bit of a brag. So it's not like people have not tried building interactivity.
Yeah, I want to say this. So Akshay, have you tried editing videos online anywhere inside editor? Have you tried any tool?
Canva, which is not great for videos, but there's a tool called Movely. I've tried that.
In the browser, go and try putting out, let's say 3 to 4 videos on the artboard and try, play them, try editing them. You would realize that whenever you resize or whenever you do any sort of action, those editors lag. They lag it to a level after putting 3 to 4 buttons. You're like, nahi yaar, yahan pe editing nahi karta hu. Let me go to my Final Cut Pro or something. With Kappa, you can go up to 10,000 elements and your frame rate will still be 60 FPS. That's a performance. We have seen this performance somewhere else as well. That is Figma, which is for vector design. But for handling media formats, these many elements and manipulating them in real time while someone is clicking and all has never been done. This is the industry first. And this is the main challenge also while you're building these kind of products.
And that
Vectors is something that your HTML canvas supports by default. But these things take a toll on media formats that we are talking about, or especially the videos and multiple media files orchestration. Take a toll on this browser. You got only one JavaScript thread. And when you try to overload it, you try to miss things out. There's a drop in frame rates. There's a drop in execution. There's a drop in events that you want the JavaScript to do. All those things happen. Balancing them together and building a performance system is mother of a job. That's the first hurdle that we had to solve while building Kappa. And that's the basis of Kappa. I mean, if we had not solved that problem, I think Kappa wouldn't have been possible. And everyone else who is also trying to solve this problem have just skipped it, and they have jumped ahead, and now they cannot scale it. It's the nature of this particular product.
Can you do everything on Kappa that you can do on Final Cut Pro?
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, Final Cut Pro.
Okay, what is the difference?
See, Final Cut Pro and all these are all meant to be editing systems. So editing system, I think they are most fantastic editing systems.
They would explain to me as a layman, what is it that a Final Cut Pro can do and what is it that a Kappa can do? Like, what is the difference?
Yeah, so you can edit things sequentially and you can build a linear video. You can build a scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, scene 4, scene 5, scene 7, scene 8. That is what you could do with normal editors offline. What Shubham was talking about, normal editors online, even to build a scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, scene 4, you have hundreds of scenes together, right? And what if you have to put all of these together? If you try and play 4 or 5 of these at the same time or resize or do something, place all of that, browser crashes. It's heavy duty. So many video files are streaming and all of that. With Kappa, the advantage is you cannot do that. But if you play, even if you were to play 5 files, 6 files, 16 files together, it will not crash. 10,000 elements. We have seen elements. When we say what is an element, your video is one element.
A button, text, call out.
To text is an element. Right? So 15, 20, 30 elements is what maximum people have gone for it to go easy, right? Maximum we have seen. And where we've seen people only working with one video. Nobody's done doing multiple streams within one video, right? We've done something with large manufacturer like Mercedes, who had 12 videos playing as a single experience. And if you count the elements and all itself, that would have gone to 600 plus. In that scenario also, and all of that playing smoothly in your browser environment, in your ad environment, in this environment, where the customer doesn't have to worry. He's just put it out. He's not. That is the shift in technology. It's like how would you compare Tesla has built a rocket that goes up, comes and parks itself down and says, now you can do. That's the level of, that's what engineering does. That's the kind of engineering that you've done. You don't have to worry about things. You just know that you're traveling on a bridge. How that bridge was built, how smoothly it works is now being taken out of the equation. Otherwise, see, it's the same question what Shubham was also saying.
Let me come back to you, Shubham. So like, what is the difference between Final Cut Pro and Kappa?
If you see any Adobe tool, let's say, the output is a rasterized format, like image or a video. And eventually in those tools, what you're doing is you're doing pixel manipulation. In Photoshop, I'm doing pixel manipulation. When I'm in Illustrator, when I'm creating these vectors and everything, I'm doing pixel manipulation. While I'm doing video, I'm doing composition in Adobe After Effects, I'm doing pixel manipulation.
Okay. So pixel is the shade of light.
Yes.
So you can remove it, you can change the color, you can make it dark, bright, you can make it dim, or you can give it visual effects. All of that is pixel manipulation.
Absolutely. Even in Canva, when I'm doing all these things and generating an image, I'm doing pixel manipulation, but Canva has done all the heavy lifting, saying, I'm just going to give you templates. Don't do pixel manipulation. I'm going to give you beautiful things and all. Right?
Okay. So that is Final Cut Pro, pixel manipulation. That is its core purpose.
Thing. Yeah. And based on what you're trying to make, if you're trying to make video, then the video editor, let's say Adobe After Effects, it will give you those timelines and it will give you extra features because that's what it is supposed to do. It makes your life easy.
What extra features? Like
timeline. Like if pixel manipulation was just the motive, Microsoft Paint is also a good software. It's not a bad software.
Yeah. But Microsoft Paint is static.
Yes.
Well, this is like across a 10-minute video, it lets you do pixel manipulation.
Absolutely. Yeah. So now when it comes to Kappa says, I'm going to let you do orchestration is, I'm not going to touch your pixels. Okay. They're going to remain the same. What I'm going to let you do is, if you create, let's say, one video and then you create a button around it, or you put a card there, or you put any element, I'm going to let you define relationship between these two. And this relationship is going to get triggered with respect to time. Let's say when time equal to 5, show me a product and give me all the details. And also, let's say on the left side, give me an overlay or something. That's a relationship between that product and the video. While doing this, you have not manipulated any pixel. So in nutshell, Kappa is not your alternate to FCP or let's say Adobe After Effects. Kappa is augmenting the output of those software and letting you create a new kind of experience out of it.
And most HTML video editors are doing orchestration only, or are there also some which are trying to do pixel manipulation?
They are trying to do pixel manipulations as well. But the good part is, if you try to do pixel manipulation, it's like when you start to make a change, it renders it, and then you have a new version of that particular element, right? When you do it for a large file, then you've got the huge rendered version of it, like videos and all. With Kappa, since you're only doing orchestration, you're just writing relationship, then rendering is out of the way. Finally, it's the same container that will get shipped out to the end user. So no wait time and anything else. And then after that, in the orchestration, when you're putting multiple elements, that's where you have to do performance optimization. Like 5-element, 10-element, you just have to ensure that when these elements become large, because the reason that you cannot just ship your Adobe After Effects file, you have to rasterize it because the file is huge. The manipulation is here.
Rasterize, what is that?
Flattened.
Flat. If you got 10 layers, I'll render them into one video for you. It's encoding, right?
Yeah, and let me add to that. And simple. आज के दिन ना, Akshay, when you send out a file, and I think you said, how many other online video players are doing manipulation? Not actually none. Video editors are not meant for manipulation. They're only meant for pixel manipulation. They're not meant for orchestration. So nobody's orchestrating things, right? Orchestration is very sequential. What is the effect of orchestration? The effect of orchestration is when you now work in layers, you're transporting it as layers. Your audience is now interacting with layers. Your audience is now saying that, and in terms of time, it's not A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, scene 4. As an audience, I can come and say scene 5 first, then scene 2, then scene 1.
That though I've understood. That is like the core of what Kappa does.
So that your story, your time, your platform. That's the way you would want to do it. Yeah.
So you have built a video version of a chatbot kind of a customer engagement product in which the orchestration is one big technical challenge which you were talking about, that you solved it. Otherwise, doing orchestration through HTML on a website is extremely difficult. Does your platform also do resizing? Because every publisher might have a different format, na? Like someone might have, like TikTok has those videos which are vertical in nature and YouTube has horizontal videos. So does that also get handled by your platform?
Yes, at some level it is handled at the platform, because those are the primary features that are required by everyone. But beyond that, any kind of video manipulation is not there. It's more of an orchestration around video with other things, not just, we don't go inside the video, it's video with other things.
But resizing is a hard problem, na? क्योंकि उसमें human judgment चाहिए होती है, at least in a more traditional format, कि मैं क्या काटूं, क्या रखूं, मेरा focus किस पे होना चाहिए. So how do you manage resizing?
Okay, haven't thought of it in this manner actually. So from Kappa's perspective, I'm talking. You're putting your video, and that's when you're saying from this timestamp to this timestamp, it is good for me. Rest is not fine for me. So you've got a button called, when I reach 5 seconds, skip to the 15 second. That way, middle 10 seconds are off. By doing this, you have not cut down the video anywhere. You're not trimming it, or you're not shortening it. You're just saying.
When I say resize, I'm talking of dimensions.
Oh, the dimension is pretty easy, no? So in our scenario, you just drag it and it is resized. And since we are never going to rasterize it or render it, it just remains there. Resizing is literally a drag for us.
So like there'll be a frame, you can drag the part of the video you want visible inside the frame.
Yes, that's all. And or if you want, you can mask it with the different layer on top of it, saying this is the part I want visible. The rest of the part I'm going to turn off black. It's like, how should I say it? It's 10-second job. And once you're done with it, you can go instantly live. You don't have to now render it as.
No, but this changing of dimension, the brand needs to figure out कि किस platform में क्या dimension जानी है, and therefore create those multiple versions, like version for Twitter, version for LinkedIn, a version for TikTok. They need to do all of that.
Yes, they have to figure it out, because I mean, no matter what kind of automation algorithms you can build, these brand preferences, especially the brand guidelines and all, you cannot automate. And especially when these things change over 1 month or 2 months, it's not something that you can learn as well. Max that you can do is you can give brand guidelines and you can give brand libraries, which they can maintain and fasten the process of editing, but you cannot take those decisions on their behalf. That's what we have learned. Initially, we were breaking our head saying, how about we automate it? But eventually we realized, let's just leave it. No brand manager is going to accept what you are editing. That's 100% sure. What the algorithms are editing.
Like even the dimensions change because that's not really a major thing for a brand ना मतलब मेरे को अगर square के बदले rectangular video दिखाना है किसी platform में मतलब in some platform the format is square, in another it's rectangular, in that rectangular is horizontal, in another it's a vertical rectangle.
That you have to mention saying, I want my experience in these dimensions. Once you have mentioned it, that's where it stops. You don't have to do extra work. Kappa will resize it automatically. All those things are.
So you can, using AI, you can figure out what is the part to keep, or is it just like the center part of it? Like what you cut out, what you keep. If you were to say vertical rectangle, एक square video में vertical rectangle करना है तो.
Okay, let's do it this way. I think it would have been better with a screen share, but let's say you've got a rectangle frame in front of you. Okay. Behind that frame, you've got a video. But the frame is square, and behind that video, you've got a rectangle video. To fit the video inside this rectangle, you have two choices. Either you, while keeping the aspect ratio same, you just resize the whole thing and fit it inside so that on top and bottom you got black bars and all. Other part is you go for crop. You say, I'm going to take the left side of, like right now, you can just take the left side of my video and say, this is the part I want to. So what you will do is you will just shift the video in the behind of the rectangle, saying just put it on the right side.
Do you also make it easy for the brand to do the storyboarding? Because this would the storyboarding part of creating an interactive video would in itself be a complex task for a brand to figure out that, okay, when a customer lands on my video, I will first do a 5-second intro and then I'll ask him this question. Now, this question can have 3 answers. If it is answer 1, then I need a video here showing that. And if it is answer 2, I need this video. If it's answer 3, I need this video. And then after answer 1, they would further, it'll keep spreading. And maybe at the end of it, they would need to make 12 snippets. So that storyboarding process of building an interactive video, do you help them to conceptualize that what all they need?
Okay, so there are 2 parts to it. I think first part is providing a tool chain where it is easy for you to do this storyboarding, which we have already given when you can go. On top of it, there's like some sort of imagination that kicks in, saying what kind of experience you want to give to the end consumer or the user. That's where I think lots of expertise come in from how you can solve a certain problem using interactivity. Like I, as a visual communicator, I can solve couple of your problems by putting things into the frame and changing something, but I can do all the things visually for you. For me to solve problems using interactivity, I need to imagine the end user flow, how they are going to do this. So that's where some sort of UI UX capability come into the play. The ones who design your user interfaces, and that's where Figma also comes in. The ones who understand that, I think those are the ones can use Kappa very easily, and they can get value out of it instantly as well. But having said that, I think there's some sort of imagination that I think someone has to seed in. It can be us while we are talking about the product. It can be your agency. It can be some tech genius in your company that can assist you with all that. But it is not something that is a trade secret or something. It is available ready. Almost there's a UI UX people and the web developers have perfected this art over the years, over the decades, saying how to make these experiences good.
So let me understand now the go-to-market of this. And Prashanto, maybe you can talk about how you took this product to the market. Did you first start with a beta one and then have some beta customers who were using it for free and then build it and then make it a paid SaaS? Or how did you do the go-to-market?
See, when we started off, what we were saying was too fantastic. So, and for us also, it meant testing everything that we were saying. The grandfather paradox, this paradox, that paradox, and going back to the drawing board 18 times, 20 times. But along the way, we also realized that and it was also very important to know whether does it have the potential to make money?
Will people pay for it?
Will people pay for it? So again, this is where gray hair comes in, which looks at all these questions first and says that product building and all of this, how do you go hand in? So we built a MVP, then we started building a product. And then when we had this whole journey of COVID happening, and during COVID, we realized that it's also an opportunity for us to talk to all these brand heads and all. And
you had an MVP ready when COVID hit?
So we had a working prototype, but it was, trust me, now when we look back,
it was embarrassing.
And it's not embarrassing. It did what it did. See, very simple problem. If you ask us, no, because see, when you go to any of these tech product conclaves and all, everybody say, what's the single problem you solve?
PD, I will interrupt you. It was a beautiful PPT and a working URL.
Okay, so you could show the customer that you can create videos like this. You had a demo video to tell them you can create a video like this.
That we could do. And then thankfully,
And you had a network with CMOs and marketing heads and people who would spend on this.
So we had, between me, Arun, who's our other co-founder. Arun was the CEO of Hindu and he was the revenue head at Hindustan Times. So, and he was also my boss back at UTV. So that's how we know. So as we know, we knew fairly a lot of people. So okay, we started asking because we wanted to hear it from the horse's mouth saying, what is the problem that we're trying to solve? While the product is, adoption is bottoms up, but the product, that wow has to be from that. So we started doing that. Somewhere along the way, we started, and we had an internal tool. Kappa was an internal tool. And we started working with.
Okay, so you started as a service first. Okay, you give us your stuff and we'll convert it.
No, so we would always help teams in different organizations to come together. Services, again, I think one thing that we've been very clear, we've got to the other extreme of going and saying that we will never be a service company. We will be a product company, we will never be a service company. We are very sure of that. We have refused things where people have come and asked us, we said we'll help you.
No, but then what do you mean when you say that Kappa was an internal tool? Like,
so by internal tool, we mean is you will overextend yourself in terms of support. All right. You have built something that only you can use. No one else can use. Okay. That's the first scrappy version, right?
Yeah, that is always the case with version 1.
Yeah. So what we would do is it is something that we are already using internally. Like left and right, our teams are able to create experiences. They're putting it out. They're looking beautiful as well. Almost production quality. Right. But then when we go outside, it's a final output that customers were interested in initially because the platform was not sick. Okay. So for quite some time, it remained an internal tool saying ki we are going to use it ourselves. Okay. But we're going to ship it outside as a final end thing that we're going to give it to you.
Yeah. Like we'll do it for you.
Yeah. But once we give it to you, you have an account. And the moment you have an account, you are an onboarded customer with us.
And you can edit.
It's edit and all. So the initial days are like you will overextend in terms of support, adoption and everything just to make it work. And once it is working with someone, then after that, it's perfectly fine for you to scale and that go use it yourself. We'll give you these tutorials, do all those things. And it took us quite a lot of time because on the other hand, we were balancing it with the go-to market and the problems at hand. And these problems were not really sort of like a development problem, like you put more people into it and you have the solution. No, problems were literally product and technology level problems.
Like what? Give me examples.
We'll go back to the drawing board and solve the problems where it works on every kind of browser and device. Unless that is done, unless it works seamlessly on kind of browser, you cannot ship it outside. In all this while you are doing it, PD comes in and says, buy this new big brand, Fortune 500 brand. We have talked about them. Like it. Why don't we ship it?
I'll tell you, I'll give you an example. Okay. And this has happened to us. Okay. This is the first time you've done a product and nobody wants to put money on you to try it. Nobody wants to give you money day one. So somehow use my charm, old world charm to say, nahi, thode to paisa laga, wo sab karo. And we worked with a very large brand, a movie studio kind of a thing. And we put it out. And let me talk some numbers here, right? So you understand what happened. So this was a large movie release. And traditionally, engagement rate that has been seen on videos and stuff is about 0.3%, 0.4%, 0.5%. Right. And so I think this was still a product where this was the market rate. And anybody, if you had touched even 1% or 1.5%, no, you would have been seen as God. So we built something, we put it out, and this went out as a test ad, and it played. And we started, and because it's the first time it's going out and everybody's crowding around to see kya hota hai. First set of numbers start coming in. Okay, 15, 20 minutes.
And this played on like these news websites and all.
It played on not news. So news website is not the analogy. It plays on everything, every media publisher, anybody who's a publisher, it will play on this site. There is no version of not. News is just an analogy saying traffic was the news, but therefore we say news. But any publisher, so it would. And so far, the world has been used to seeing something where you would do it, and 2 weeks later you will see a report. Ki, sir, aapka performance aisa hai. This is what is good, and that's it. Here you're talking about real-time performance. We see the numbers and we see against the 0.4%, we see an engagement rate of 59%. 0.4% is what you get, reaching 59%. Okay, and for a moment, we didn't know whether this was accurate. And being hardcore product guys, the first thing is, apne system mein to leak nahi hai. Go and check and check and check and check. And this is again this is not also gameable because this is purely driven by human intent. If intent is there, people will do it. But that is when we realize we're onto something.
Pretty,
Because
I have to add to this. I have to add to this. There are 2-3 events in the middle where when we first saw the numbers, I'm talking to PD and I'm also talking to Harsha. Both of us sitting and like, kitna engagement are like 59%. It took us 1 or 2 seconds to first realize that I'm talking 59% and not 0.59%. And then after that, and then after that, Harsha goes in. I asked Harsha, bro, is this possible? Like, I don't know. And when I heard it, I said, बंद करो इसको पूरे को. पहले चेक करना पूरे सिस्टम में क्या चल रहा है. We literally checked on the whole thing. We said, let's pause it here and let's just audit the whole thing. Whatever we have created, are we counting it right? Are we double counting, triple counting? Let's audit the whole pipeline. We sat there for 1 or 2 hours. Okay, we did the whole check. We also sent some test data and realized, okay, no, we are not doing any counting error. We're not doing any counting. And when it comes to reporting, so now you're also, these are the numbers that no one has heard of also. When you now go to the customer and say, this is 59%, that guy is going to like, show me how you are counting. I cannot believe this. Because in my analytics, I've always been seeing 0.2 decibels and all. That's when things change. And we're like, okay, people want verification. We're going to give them verification because numbers are unbelievable. But idea is to now, can we do it again and again? Because you can do it with one creative and you can do it great. But can you do it with any random, let's say, video or experience and put it outside? Will people engage with it? If you can do it consistently, then you have something that is going to work for everyone and you can productize it. If it is one-off, then it is a service business. Then you have to again go back to the drawing board for every project that you do, right? And then we repeated it again and again with multiple customers. We kept it doing till the time we got the enough results saying, no, it's not just one-off thing. It is the impact of the interactive layer that you're creating around. It's a journey that you're taking them through, and that's keep them engaged.
So what was this first video about? What product or what was the video concept?
This was, so actually 2 things happened simultaneously. There was some movie release for, I think, Bad Boys. That was one. And I think right after that, there was Mercedes came up with the first campaign.
So Bad Boys was like a teaser of Bad Boys in which they had like Will Smith.
So that was a complete, you had a trailer, you had the review, you had the quiz, you could quiz it, you could do all of that, and you could then go and buy tickets. So what we started asking was the question.
Instead of just a trailer, it was an interactive trailer where there was a quiz also, and you could watch a video review also. Yeah.
Everything. So everything that you needed to make a buying decision at that point of time.
And what was the Mercedes campaign about?
Mercedes was even more beautiful. Mercedes came with, when we first saw the video, they had linear videos. And this was just a lovely video of car going.
Everyone has
car launch, animation, and all of that. Fine, we said, fine, take a video. But they had 2 models. They had the long wheelbase and the coupe. And within the models, they had variant,
color variants, and
there's no color variants. We suggested that why not see colors? Nobody looks at a video and says, I can do colors. But we suggested that maybe that because colors is a huge choice. It draws people into seeing. First thing that people want to see is it available in my color?
लाल में कैसे दिखती है?
कैसे दिखती है and all. And see, we did that. This was again the customer, and you know how everything works. Because you're a technology that nobody wants, so you're the lowest in the priority. So everybody thinks, let's tell them, and this will happen they will say 2 months or 3 months. It is anyways out of the question. In 48 hours, everything was ready. So now you have a thing that, and again, this goes out, this plays out.
And this was for driving test drives, or what was it like?
This is during COVID. Book a car, and you can go to the showroom visit from there. And the whole idea was giving a handshake to the thing. The performance was like before Kappa. Mercedes would see an engagement rate of about 0.3%, 0.4%. With Kappa, at peak, it went up to 17%. Okay. Then this was not a single video. When we talk about multi-stream, this was 12 to 15 videos playing as a single ad unit.
Yeah, because you would need some intro, then each model, there would be a couple of videos, couple of colors.
Yes, all of this and choice driven and all of that. We were doing all of this and we were manipulating it. We were not manipulating it. We were orchestrating it. We were putting it together. And that happened. And this actually won the award also for Mercedes as the breakthrough technology of the year, which delivered almost 50 million data points on user behavior that was never unlocked before in a video.
Like, what color do men like? What color do women like?
What colors do men like, women like? What time of the day? What time of the week? What is good for me? What does Delhi want? What does Pune want? What does this want? What does that want? And that, and will it sell? Finally, will see. So far the behavior in the market has been, they will see something, now they'll come and click on it, and after that I go, and then you realize that there's a 98% drop off.
And there's just one point of truth, like.
One point of truth.
Yeah, there's just one link you can click, like buy now or visit the website or whatever, find out more.
Yeah. So a lot of people realized, boss, I didn't want to do it. Here, somebody's coming, making choices, figuring out a journey, all of which gets mapped and aggregated as journeys and user behavior. Okay, which might be untrue for one or two people, but for thousands and millions, it is not. Okay, and all of this is now data that's getting packed, and the brand gets to understand. And as it grows, you start to see patterns, and you start to see patterns on consumption, patterns on viewing, and then obviously this is not what we can tell you, but there are patterns where they realize that when people will buy, there is a particular user behavior that happens before somebody makes a choice. Please understand, the simple solution was brand. We were trying to say that brand, customer attention to brand engagement. So that has got solved, and we are now delivering so much more that it was mind blowing. And that is where the question started happening. So it's good for us to do this, but how do you build a product which the world can use?
When did Mercedes come in? Like, when was that campaign done?
This was, I think, November 2020. November 2020, no, Shubham.
So that would have been like a breakthrough moment, right? Like when there was proof of product market fit, so to say.
This was still not product market fit. This was still early days.
This was more like that you've got some sort of pull, that's it. Or you've got some sort of validation in the idea, saying it works. But it is still not product market fit, because we have not actually solved the product in that transaction. What you have solved is the output of the product.
When did you reach that product market fit? Like, what would you, like Shubham, you said that this was not yet there. So according to you, what do you define as the moment you reached product market fit?
Oh yeah. I think that happened in somewhere in March last year. I'll not still call it product market fit, but I'll call it product user fit, where one of the user of the product came to me and started doing things that we had not imagined when we were creating Kappa. Okay, and me and Harsha were sitting, and this is exactly the words of Harsha. ये किसने बनाया है? He doesn't even know Kappa ने बनाया है. ये किसने बनाया? And that's when we realized, okay, so the product user fit exists. Given some basic level of understanding of what Kappa is, people can create things that we cannot imagine. And Kappa is like a sandbox environment where you come and you unleash your interactive imagination, and you eventually go to the market. I think when we talk about now product market fit, that's where I think we have to break it down. What type of market? So far we have talked about advertising as a market, right? Where one of the advertiser wants to do a campaign and take it outside. I think by the looks of it, we had reached the product market fit in that industry, and it is still going on for us. It's a strong revenue stream and all. And then after that, we went on to hit upon the other market, that is your own audience that you already have. And now you want to engage and re-engage with them in a with different metrics and KPIs in mind. Example, let's say I'm an e-commerce brand. I am acquiring customers left and right, but I'm also seeing a churn at my customer base. And you've got a team dedicated to ensure that people don't churn. You've got a data science team, you've got all the product team working together to ensure that these guys come and either you increase their average cart value, or they at least come to the website and look at your catalog again and again. Can I re-engage with them with a different experience that Kappa has to provide? That's a different market, right? And then I've talked about this, and there's a different market like market research. Can I, so far I've been asking you simple yes or no question or quiz question, like my MCQs and all in front of you. very boring surveys per se, which no one fills actually.
You're saying that an e-commerce company can use it to re-engage. Give me an example. What kind of company could do what kind of campaign? Or you could give a live example also, something which has actually been done.
I'll give you 2-3 examples. First one, let's say start with e-commerce. You've got a new collection on your store and you want to tell your existing users that we've got a new collection. How about you come and shop? Idea is you're still doing, again, some sort of awareness campaign with your user base. You've got two ways. Either you can send me a notification and show me a banner, or you can send me a rich Kappa experience where I will engage and go through a journey. And while I'm watching the video, I might just add something to the cart while, let's say, I will click on your shirt and pick it from there. That's one. Second, let me pick it from PFSI, bagging example. You got premium customers, right? HNIs and all. And you want to engage with them. You got a relationship manager who is maintaining that relationship and sending them new financial product or giving them monthly update or something. This communication that you're sending out, either it can be a PDF or it can be a face recording of the relationship manager who is now talking to the end consumer and giving them all the daily reports. It helps in optimizing the value for the end consumer that you're engaging with.
Or even a support bot. Like you have these chat-based support bots. Like a bank could invest. It might be a slightly big investment, but they could invest in a video support bot.
They can, but we have not moved into that particular market yet. I think it requires some different sort of build as well before we try to conquer that. We have clearly stayed in the marketing, remarketing, and sort of like a re-engagement kind of zone so far. And what we are understanding, like all the digital first companies are doing this cohort analytics, they're doing lots of data stuff where they understand their audience more than the audience themselves. And it is the right time to, I think hit would be the bad word, but it's right time to send them the right experience, which is in tandem with the behavior that they're showing and not just one mass video. I would say so far with the communications that companies are doing with the customers, it's more like a mass media approach, like Doordarshan. You would have one channel which will be shown to anyone. With Kappa, it's more of a personalized, on-demand kind of approach where I choose what I want, and then of course you do some recommendation, but based on the choices, then I move forward on the journey. And I'm always going on a journey. I'm never like, you're not just hitting on with a discontinuity in my life. You're just taking with a journey. And once that journey is complete, you had my attention all along. You are accomplishing some sort of brand action out of it.
Can you customize the landing video itself? Like, so say a brand sent out an email to re-engage customers and customers clicked on the link which opened a video. Could, for example, Delhi-based people see a different video than Bombay-based people? Or could women see a different video than men?
Absolutely. If you have some let me go one step further. If it is raining today, then maybe you will see a very different theme than when it's sunny. Or if I am your repeat customer who has an average cart value of, let's say, more than 500 rupees, you will see a different experience than the other guy who is probably a hot lead or something.
How does this happen from a technology perspective? How does the Kappa server know that this is a customer with average, like who spends more than 500 rupees per order?
Integrations. Like our customers already have these systems that are already keeping track of these profiles and managing them in CDPs and all. Kappa just hooks into it. And
what is the CDP?
Customer data platform. Customer data platform is something that is profiling you, always maintaining anonymous, non-anonymous.
So there'll be like a username and then behavior about the user, like average order value and location, gender, age.
All that profile is maintained. So let's say if I were to imagine, let's say big system like Facebook, just example, hypothetical in nature. You've got your activity on Facebook, you've got activity on Instagram, and you've got activity on WhatsApp. If let's say these three activities are mapped to one ID, then all these activities are saved as one profile. They're not like three different profiles. And one third party can come in and hook into this profile, take the data that is required, and customize the experience for you the way they want. All this while this is happening, it is to ensure that the data privacy standards are maintained, and even the platform or the customer who is buying Kappa is also in compliance with the rights of the end consumer. So that's where the majority of the work goes in. I think that's a major part, but most of these things are solved with integration with the existing systems or platforms that customers are already running. And while we're talking about it, we are just talking about large enterprises over here. There's another market that is SME market, which we have not touched upon so far, which is more like the Canva market. anyone is a designer and all. This, I think we're going to discover it together in the next session. Whenever we come up with, we can give you more insights about it. Still early signs of how people are using it and how they're getting value out of it, but yet to scale.
What is the pricing right now?
See, Kappa is built on usage, subscription plus usage kind of model, where hosting and usage is what we call it, where you come in, you get a basic. So as of right now, there is no limitations on building anything. You can just go to kappax.io, simply sign up and simply start building things and all. Now, after that comes in where people say that, I want to ship it to our enterprise customers, talk about shipping it to hundreds of thousands of the users. Now, depending on what they want to do. And we didn't want to limit it by saying itne click milenge, so many clicks in this much. So we said that our measure of doing it is plays. How many times do you want this to get played? And we will charge you only on plays, on the basis of plays. So tiers for smaller businesses start upward of, or medium businesses start for upwards of $1,000, and upwards of $1,000. Enterprises have a higher purchase point at about $10,000, $15,000. And we're talking about customers that we have today from the Middle East, from Europe, and now we are just about venturing into America.
And this is a postpaid or a prepaid? Like they have to load a wallet, or like you said, them a monthly?
It's a wallet that so it's always prepaid. You estimate the amount that you want. And let's say if you've hit your quota, then you can always buy add-ons. Or if you think that you're constantly hitting your quotas, then you can upgrade. So you upgrade to a higher tier, you get more. We've always encouraged our customers to start small and pay and grow as their businesses grow. Add to this a little anecdote. You've had large financial institutions coming in, who's come in and said that they wanted to try it at a smaller scale. And I will not name the client because and they tried, and then it said, like, can we scale it to 100,000 or 8x? Okay, chalo karte hain. Then that's not a problem. Now the demand is that can it integrate into my core banking and be shown to every customer? And we're talking about millions and hundreds of millions of this now playing this out. That is how impactful that they see Kappa. And this is something that we're working on right now. So, but that is how impactful that everybody sees this as happening. And this is where it's going to be. Similarly, when people have asked us about the technology scaling and all, we've not seen, like, customers have gone from 200. And there's something, the behavior that we realize. Teams are now coming in, building something, not waiting for everything, not waiting for 100% of things to get in place. They have 60% things. They come in, start building it. They put it out. They start testing. They figure out what's the user behavior like. They collect and they refine that. They go to the next 1,000. They refine it. And when they think that they have the magic formula, boom. And Kappa is elastic enough to expand like that.
You started your early onboarding by building for them and then giving them an account where they can edit. So when did it move to self-service? Like, tell me about that journey.
November, December is when we launched our SaaS for public
self-service.
Yeah, self-service for public beta. And we've seen a fantastic uptick on that.
We can also expand the timeline. I think when last year in June or July, we had started giving out this early access to our known people, known companies. They were trying it out and giving us constant feedback. And then after that, when we perfected it out for a couple of months, we said, okay, let's put it out to public. Right now it's public and anyone can go sign up. And we have not started actually monetizing it at all. It's free for the users. They can sign up and start using it and then get in touch with us if they want to scale it to a level where they think that the free tier is not enough. Right. Also, we have kept it in a manner like initially when we were pricing it, we said, let's not do seed-based pricing at all, because then you are putting a penalty for adoption at the customer level. Example, you are my customer, you understand every experience, you buy Kappa, and then when you want to add a teammate, you pay extra money for it. And then that's when you realize that, okay, why should I pay for it? Let me just share the account or restrict the usage. We said that's a penalty on adoption. How about we ignore that part and we went one step ahead. We said, okay, how about we almost give all the premium features for free in this premium account so that they are equipped enough to build the best experiences. And then after that, just charge for the usage at the end, where let's say if you're a very small customer, which has only 100 customers or 100 people, audience of 100 people, then you just pay a very minimal amount. You don't have to get into a huge lock-in with a tier and everything else. But if you're a large enterprise, then you just get a play base there over there. So it's like a one size fits to fit all kind of a pricing that scale itself along with the customer base.
Basically, number of times that the video is played is what the pricing depends on. It doesn't
That's
matter
right.
how many team members, how many videos, all
It
of
doesn't
that.
matter. It doesn't matter.
Because you want to encourage more team members to come and you want to encourage them to create more videos and only monetize once they are actually hitting eyeballs.
Yes. Yes. So we get the value when they actually create the value out of Kappa.
So this is also from what we've seen in the past. At least my television and everything is all about collaboration. You build great products as teams. There's not one single person who's doing it, right? What are the problems that we are solving? A, you're bringing teams together. B, you're saying that iteration is not a problem anymore. Agility is not a problem anymore. So why? So we didn't want to build any penalties there on adoption. We didn't want to build penalties there. So those were the kind of things that we focused on. And we said that if the product is delivering for you and it's growing your business and it's creating impact, you will automatically want to scale. And that's what we're seeing today. Like when people see it and they're like, wow, what is it like when you ask what has changed that video bot thing? Today, even the most ordinary website has a meet and greet kind of a thing which says Atati Devo Bhava kind of a thing, where somebody comes in and says, walk into my shop, I can tell you what it is. There's a personalization that has come. This was not there before. And I can change this on the fly. I don't need to be sitting with this. Now that's where we have changed the game for folks. And this is where we are at different behavior patterns from different people across the world. You're seeing different audiences in the Middle East have a very different way of approaching it. Audiences in Europe have a very different way of approach. Audiences in the US is now where we are very supremely focused on entering.
And what is your current revenue rate?
This year, inshallah, if everything goes right, God's grace, we should do about upwards of 200,000.
Amazing. Okay. And what's the roadmap for revenue? Like say by 2025?
So 2020, the next 4 years, we don't foresee a problem in getting to 20 million.
Amazing. Okay.
I'm saying, and that is a very conservative approach.
And I think you're not factoring in your direct to consumer, like the Canva SME audience in that. Not that.
Yeah. So we're not. So we're not. This is what we know today.
There's like the enterprise audience.
Yeah. 20 million doesn't look like a problem at all. Like, people. So this is the thing that, about our business at Shubham and I. Sometimes, people ask us, we've signed up our large clients first. We know our revenues are coming from there. We know that there are alternate revenue streams. And people ask us, what is their one area of growth? Actually, honestly, we don't know here. We're still too early to that game. We know that the first $100,000 or $200,000 has come from A, B, C, D, E, F, right? With the SME now, you're absolutely right, Akshay. It opens up a different market altogether. A scale that is so unprecedented that we don't even have an idea of where it will reach. And that is a discovery process that we know. There's a joke that Shubham and I were talking about. There'll be no unicorn. There's only sweet corn and decacorn. We know what we've built and we know that this is the product now is ready to scale. There is nothing else. And people ask us about this. This is a blood, sweat, tears, and hard-earned money that has gone into this. That is why we are very confident that this bloody works. There is no product like this in the world. You can bring on anything.
Okay. So, and have you raised funds so far?
At this point, so when we first went out, it was too fantastic to talk about. And we had a choice, and especially in a COVID environment. We would have said that 10 months, 8 months to raise funding and then getting into it, or saying that we believe this, we think that this is true. Let's put our might behind it. And I think that was one of the best calls that we have made. That we know that we wanted to back this. We didn't want to wait. We said that time is something that we want to. And now we are seeking partners to grow. The next phase of growth, where we now it's very revenue led. Even on the product front, the mind-boggling things that we are trying to now execute, which just a bunch of guys, and I say this on behalf of Arun, Harsha, Shubham, Bharat, the rest of the team, everybody that I can talk about. We're a bunch of guys having fun. We are enjoying what we are doing. We are enjoying the wow that we are saying. When customers come back and say, I'm seeing, when people ask us, today, even in the advertising market, let me come back. People say, Market average is 0.5%, 0.6%. We say how much, what's the lowest benchmark we can do? 4% से कम तो दिख ही नहीं रहा हमारे को. कुछ भी कर लो मतलब सोचने में भी 4% निकल जाता है. And you have to be really bad to get to those kind of numbers. You have to be.
Do you really even need funding now? Because you have enterprise business which would help you fund your next phase of growth until you reach a stage where you really want to go all in on the consumer business, the Canva business, like I would say the prosumer business. That is probably where you would need funds, right? Before that.
Yes and no, Akshay. Yes and no. Funding is not just about funding here. It's not just about pure money. If anybody is saying pure money doesn't interest us, I think we've crossed that stage. You're absolutely right. Anybody who says take money, not interested. Tell me what more can you do? How will you save us time? If you can save us time, if you can create access for us, if you can create opportunities for us, it makes it interesting. Do we need partners like that? We need partners like that. We don't have everything in place, right? Let's be honest about it. We don't have everything in place, and there is an opportunity that we can create. And there is an opportunity, and no code. And this is not by design, but this is not by fate, but by design. That we wanted it to be no code and all of that. Today, when people talk about no code, and they talk about and we have venture capital from different parts of the world approach. People who understand that you are building a global product that the world can consume. So and when they talk about the numbers there, we are fairly confident about what we are doing. We didn't want to expand. So before we knew it, we were already being seen in Middle East. Before we know it, there's a large customer who's wanting to adopt us. And large, when I say large, it's a Fortune 500 company that's looking to adopt us in the US. When we talk about, we are already being adopted by some of the largest banks. We're already being adopted by very large institutions, educational.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't need money, basically.
We need money. But more than money, we need the right partner. Somebody who brings in some expertise that we don't have.
So there are two types of growth that we can go on. That's the first one is revenue first strategy, go for the big guys and all this, and then use that to fund the next set of growth actions that we have. I think that something that we want to play out parallelly is product-led growth, where we are targeting the prosumers while we are earning revenues over there. But I think for the initial stage, it's not going to be enough to pour in money into this one. That's where we will need good amount of cash at hand instantly, which we can invest into that and grow from there.
Because for prosumers, you will again and also need to then spend on customer acquisition.
Yeah, I mean, someone has to subsidize that acquisition and the lifetime of that kind of prosumer, right? And we are seeing this playing around multiple times. It's straight out of the playbook. You've got Notion, you've got Figma. Yeah. So I think there we will require some sort of helping hand initially.
Yeah. I would say your prosumer market will eventually be probably triple of what your enterprise market would be.
Oh yes, I mean, the sooner we realize that it is better for us, and we have also acknowledged that internally and publicly everywhere, and teams are also aligned to make that happen right now.
This was the Spotlight, presented by The Podium. To listen to more such interesting conversations, log on to thepodium.in.